You have waited long enough. UFC London Best Bet Show is coming at you. I'm going to give you 3 bets throughout this show. 1 is a money line. 2 is a round prop bet. Number 3 is a prop bet. In addition, I will show you every single one of my DFS plays, which are positive over 70 units since the start of 2024. And lastly, just a reminder, these aren't every single one of my bets on UFC London. I will let you know throughout the video where you can get every single one of my bets absolutely free with the free trial code. And if you're already a member of the Homo Fight Picks Winnable, you know we've been on absolute fire. The last 2 weeks were positive, well over 17 units for a 62% ROI last week and over an 80% ROI at UFC 311. So we are cooking. Let's hope to keep that moving on at UFC London. But before we get into the bets this week, we always have to recap how we did last week. Now, I had 3 underdog bets, or I had 4 underdog bets last week. And the one that I gave you lost. So I hit Sam Hughes money line, I hit Chidi and Jokawani money line, Roman Dolidze money line, all underdogs. But I did have a bet on Kurt Holloway money line. He should have won. Won the first 2 rounds in my eyes. Plus 180. I still think that's a great bet. We didn't get the payout, but I still think it was a good bet. We lost the bet. I thought he won, boys. I thought he won. Tough one there, but we did hit the round prop bet. I got the over 2.5. I swept the board on the round prop bets. Had the plus money on the fight not to go the distance between Lima and Barres. And I had another one. I forget what it was, but it's going to come to me. I don't remember it, but I went 3-0 on round prop bets, and the one that I gave you did hit. The over 2.5 at minus 110 on the Cunningham and Su Young Yu fight. Not much of a sweat there. Easy cash. And the prop bet was an L. I told you in the video that I did have a bet on Chidi and Jokawani money line. So if you picked up on that and you watched the video, you might have sprinkled Chidi money line. The Chidi decision did not happen. He got the KO. But at plus 525, I was banking on Zaleski to show the durability that he's shown throughout many, many years. He's only been knocked out once. Happened to get knocked out last week. So that's only the second time that Zaleski got knocked out. Props to Chidi. He looked great in that fight. And I think if it did go to the scorecards, he would have won. But either way, we lose that one. So we went 1-2 on the bets for a combined total of minus 0.2 units on the 3 bets that I gave you. Sucks because we had such a great week and somehow I managed to give you 2 of the losing bets. Unfortunate, but that's why you sign up to the Homo Fight Picks Premium membership. On the year, we're down 2.88 units on the Best Bet Show record. The DFS, we took a minus 1 unit loss. Unfortunate as well, because we went 1-1 on 3 slips. We did hit 1 slip, so if you hit 1, you're down 1 unit if you put 4 in every week. If you hit 1, you're down 1 unit. If you hit 2, you're positive 2. So you just got to go even 2-2 on your slips to be positive, and we went 1-3. So unfortunate there, but I'm sure we're going to bounce back this week on the DFS. Let's get into the bets. We're starting it off with a money line bet on Kevin Holland. I think this is a great buy low spot on Kevin Holland. I don't think him at 185 is a motivated Kevin Holland. I don't think he's physically adapt to deal with these guys at 185. Rainier DeRitter was 22 pounds heavier than Kevin Holland on fight night. That's a huge difference. When he's down at 170, he'll probably balloon up to 185, 190 by the time that the fight goes down. And I think that's about where he should be. So, fighting at 185, I think he only gained about 6 pounds or something like that. He was about 191. So he really doesn't have to cut weight at 185. At 170, he has to put the time in to cut the weight. He's got to be motivated. He's got to be locked in. And at 170, he has shown it's a lot tougher to take him down. I look at that Michael Chiesa fight, a guy that likes to clinch him up against the cage and work for his takedowns there. Didn't have much success. Kevin stuffed the takedowns, ultimately got the Darce choke, which, it's probably not going to be as easy to get a Darce choke on Gunnar Nelson because Chiesa's kryptonite is the Darce choke. But I do think on the feet, Kevin Holland has 9-inch reach advantage. I think it's a 4 or 5-inch height advantage. I think he'll be able to keep his range and pick away at Gunnar Nelson. And Gunnar's takedowns, there's too many steps, in my opinion, for him to really have a lot of success, or at least easily get Kevin Holland to the ground. Now, obviously, if Gunnar does get him to the ground, then, if he gets to the back, Kevin Holland's probably not going to be looking too good. But at plus 120 on Kevin Holland, a guy that 170 is a real problem, has only lost to the best of the best, MVP, Jack Della Maddalena, Wonder Boy. Those are his 3 losses at 170. I don't really put Gunnar Nelson in that sort of category. He's 36. He's been off for 2 years, and it might be his retirement fight. So I got the younger guy, the bigger guy that has been more active, that has a high ceiling. He's just got to go in there and put it all together. And from what I've seen from him this week, he seems pretty motivated to go out there and get a dub. So I like Kevin Holland this week. I'm putting 1 unit on his money line at plus 120. Let's get into the underdog bets, or underdog fantasy plays, I should say, not bets. We're positive 74.57 units on the DFS play since 2024, and that is only including 2 pick entries. So these 5 pick entries that you see on your screen are not included in that total. If they were included, it would be a lot more. So if you're in one of these highlighted states, download the Underdog Fantasy app, use my code HeyJive, get your deposit bonus up to $1,000. And if you're on a TV, if you're watching or listening to this on the TV, whip out your phone if you don't have the Underdog app just yet. Scan the QR code on the screen, and you can download it there, just an easier way. You don't have to click the link down in the description. But if you are on your phone, there's a link down in the description to download the Underdog app there. But if you're watching on the TV, whip out your phone real quick, scan that QR code, and you get it downloaded, get your deposit bonus, and lock in these plays. Let's talk about them. I'll make myself a little bit smaller so you can see the plays. The 5-legger this week, Gunnar Nelson, lower on significant strikes. I believe, just off the top of my head, he's hit the lower than 20.5 in 5 of his last 6 fights. The only fight that he did go over was Takashi Sato. Most of that was ground and pound. Chris Duncan, lower than 39.5. I like that because I think he probably going to need to grapple here. He's not really a high-volume guy. He's kind of a guy that wants to get into a firefight. And I think if he gets into a firefight with Vucenic, they're going to start grappling. And I think Chris Duncan is just not going to be able to have a lot of success in the striking for extended periods of time. Might be able to crack him, but he's just not really technical enough of a guy to land a ton of volume. So I think his line at 39.5 is a little bit too high. So I like the lower on Chris Duncan there. Carlos Ulberg, lower than 79.5. Jan Blachowicz opponents have gone under this number in 19 of his 20 UFC fights. So this is really a big play for me based on Jan Blachowicz' extended history of just not getting hit that much. Carlos, obviously there's upside for an early finish. I think he had like 90 or something against Volkan Oezdemir, which is why I believe this line is so high. But Jan is not a guy that's going to just barrel into the pocket like Oezdemir does. So I think this fight being 3 rounds is not going to be super high volume. Jan being 42, I don't think he's going to go in there and just go to war. He's probably going to try to use his veteran experience, probably going to be trying to looking for some takedowns. So the line on Ulberg in a 15-minute fight at 79.5 is just so high. I have to take the lower there, and I do love it. So Ulberg lower than 79.5. Sean Brady, higher than 3.5 takedowns. Bilal just got taken down 9 times. Or Leon just got taken down 9 times by Bilal. Sean Brady, 7 takedowns against Gilbert Burns, 5 takedowns against Kelvin Gastelum. You know he's going to be looking for the takedowns. And Sean Brady, watching the film on him, he can get takedowns in a lot of different ways, and I think he does rack up the takedowns here. So I like the higher on 3.5 there for Sean Brady. Lower than 55.5 for Molly McCann. She's gone under this. I think it's in 5 or 6 of her last 7. So, I mean, it's, for being a women's MMA fighter, she actually does not go to a decision all that often, or at least she hasn't been. And Tainara, on the other hand, is probably going to be looking to grapple Molly McCann. McCann is at a reach disadvantage. Tainara's opponent on the Contender Series only landed like 30-some significant strikes throughout 15 minutes. So I like Molly McCann lower here. I mean, she's not a super high-volume girl unless she's going up against a girl that she doesn't have to respect at all, like a Diana Belvita. You know, I think she landed 40 significant strikes in the first round, but still finished it in the first round. So I think there's upside for an early finish here with McCann and Tainara. So I like the lower on Molly McCann at 55.5. 5 picks, all correct. wins up to 18x. It's not the 20x that we usually do, but right before I was about to put it in, they bumped Brady 3.5 takedowns to like a 0.9x multiplier. So unfortunate, but shows it was the right side. There's your 5-legger. 2-legger here, Mick Parkin. They have Michael Parkin. Weird, but it's Mick Parkin. Lower than 49.5. Tybura, not a guy that gets hit all that often. You got upside for early finish. Tybura, in all reality, probably going to be looking to grapple Mick Parkin. So either Parkin sparks him early or Tybura starts to get his grappling going, and I don't see him going over 49.5. So I like the lower. Pair that with Sean Brady, higher than 3.5 takedowns, 2.7x multiplier there. Gunnar Nelson, Molly McCann, paired up right here, wins up to 3x. And the rivals play this week is Cowie Fernandez, plus 17.5. So that means at the end of the fight, they're going to add 17.5 significant strikes to Cowie Fernandez's total. And if he lands more than Guram throughout the fight, we win. Guram, not the best striking differential. He got outstruck by Mateusz Gamrot. Got outstruck by Jordan Vucenic. I think Fernandez, pretty high volume guy on the feet. Throws a lot of low kicks. Outstruck Mark Diakese in the loss. Just absolutely baffled or just destroyed. What was his name? Muhammad Yahya. So I think at 17.5, it gives us just too much wiggle room to where, this fight could be very competitive or it could end early. And at 17.5, it's just too much. So I like that there for Cowie Fernandez. And plus 8.5 on Felipe Dos Santos. Lerner Kavanaugh only outstruck Ochoa by 1 significant strike. Only outstruck his guy in the Contender Series by 2. And Felipe has covered this in both of his last 2 fights. And the only time he didn't was against Manel Kape, which was also very, very close to covering 8.5. So I like that. Wins up to 3x there. There's your rivals play. So we got 3 plays, 3 2-leggers on Underdog, and then we'll have 2 more on Betr. So we got 5 2-leg plays on DFS this week. A lot of stuff locked in. Again, if you're in one of these highlighted states, download the Underdog app, use code HeyJive, and get your deposit bonus up to $1,000 so you can put these plays in on their dollar. And if you can't find the lines that you want on Chalkboard, or if you can't find the lines you want on Underdog, you can go on Chalkboard. If you're in one of these highlighted states, you can use Chalkboard. There's a link down in the description below as well. It's just another place where you can line shop, try to get the best line available to you. Use code HeyJive, you get a deposit bonus up to $100 as well. There's a link down in the description below. Just another option to keep in your bag and take advantage of it. To the round prop bet this week, we got the fight to not go the distance in the Mick Parkin Marcin Tybura fight. For a heavyweight fight, you're getting plus 120 for the fight to not hit the scorecards. Now, Mick Parkin is normally a finisher. If you look at his regional scene, it was all finishes. Then he gets into the UFC, and he's fighting these low-level guys. He's not putting them away. But you have to factor in the guys that he did not put away normally do go to decision. Like Muhammad Usman goes to decision in every fight. Kyle Machado goes to decision every fight. Jamal Pogues goes to decision every fight. The one time he fought a guy that could get knocked out, or at least puts himself into the positions where he could be knocked out, was Lucas Dresky, and he put him away. So could he knock out Marcin Tybura? I do think he could, because Tybura is very susceptible to be getting finished early on. He's been knocked out, 5 times? And I think on the ground, Tybura could finish Mick Parkin if he's just not on the level. I think there's finishing upside for both guys in this spot. Tybura has shown if he gets you down to the ground, he can hurt you and he can put you away, whether it is by submission, whether it's TKO. And you never even got to rule out a little TKO on the feet from Marcin Tybura. You never know. So at plus 120 for a heavyweight fight to not hit the scorecards, I like it. It's the round prop bet this week. I'm putting 1 unit on it at plus 120. Lock it in. Now, if you want all my bets this week, what you're going to do, link down in the description below. Click on it. Homo Fight Picks Winnable. Once you click on it, use code LONDON, and you'll get a 7-day free trial. Why should you join? Well, we've been absolutely cooking this week. I mentioned it at the top of the show, but last week, 62% ROI, positive 8.1 units. The week prior, 9.8 unit profit for an 82% ROI. We're positive 23.79 units so far in 2025. We're not even through the first quarter of 2025, and we're almost positive 25 units, which would put us on the track of plus 100 units that we did last year in 2024. So there's never a bad time to join, but I would say this is probably a great time because we have been very, very hot, and we're just maybe seeing the board a little bit different. I think we're picking our spots really nicely and not going too hard on anything, but just picking the spots, and we're getting the outcomes that we are expecting. So link down in the description below. That's where you get every single one of my bets for every single week. But this week, if you use code London, you'll get a 7-day free trial to the Homo Fight Picks Winnable. Let's move on to the prop bet. The prop bet this week, we did this with Roofy, where we sprinkle round 1, we sprinkle round 2. We're sprinkling round 1 and round 2 with Jordan Vucenic. Now, I think this fight either comes down to Vucenic finishing him early, or it's going to go to a competitive decision. You could just take Vucenic inside the distance, but I think we're getting a little bit more value here, taking Vucenic round 1 and round 2, because in all reality, most finishes in the UFC do come in round 1 or round 2. So we're putting 1 unit in total on Jordan Vucenic to get a finish within the first 2 rounds, but at plus 350, it's going to return us a little over 1.5 units. And if he gets it done in round 2, it's going to return us over 2 units. So I like this. I think Chris Duncan is kind of a spaz when he gets in there and things start to go down. And I think Vucenic is a composed, very skilled fighter that is going to be able to put him away. But if he can, I think it probably goes to a decision. So I think we're getting the best of it by sprinkling on round 1 and round 2. And Vucenic, look at most of his finishes. They come in round 1 and round 2. A lot of them do come in round 2, so we might get a nice little additional value if he gets it done in round 2. But Duncan, both of his losses come in round 1 to Manuel Torres and round 2 to Vyacheslav Borshev. I think Vucenic is a real slick striker that is going to give Duncan problems, and Duncan's probably going to be looking to grapple when he's not liking stuff on the feet. And Vucenic, if he doesn't knock him out, I think he's probably going to be able to submit him on the ground as well. So Vucenic in round 1 or 2, we're sprinkling on both of them. A half unit. That's your prop bet for the week. I'll lock it in. Now we can get into the Betr Picks plays. Betr Picks can win up to 2,000x your money, but we usually try to go for the 100x every single week. So if you're in one of these purple states, download Betr Picks. There's a link down in the description below. Use code HeyJive and you'll get your deposit bonus up to $250. We were very close at UFC 311. I think we could hit this one, boys. I really do. Let's take a look at it. We got Colin Loughran, lower on significant strikes. I think this fight comes down to Nathan Fletcher wanting to grapple. And Colin Loughran, I don't really think he's got the greatest striking, man. Very stiff. I kind of gave him a lot of slack in my official picks video just for the way he looks. But he's very stiff. And I think Fletcher is not a guy that's just going to stand in the pocket and like strike with you. He's going to try to move around, use his footwork, and then wait for his entries to look for the takedown. And I think this fight does turn into a lot of grappling. Colin Loughran, lower than 60.5. I like it there. Pooja Tomar, higher on significant strikes. She got 90-something in her last fight that went to a decision. I believe this one goes to a decision. Shauna Bannon is going to be there to be hit. Pooja Tomar throws a ton of volume. I think she gets over 65.5 significant strikes there. Mike Parkin, lower on significant strikes. We talked about that. Chris Duncan, lower. We talked about that. McCann, Nelson, Olberg, and Sean Brady, lower on significant strikes. They took down the takedown prop right as I was about to put it in. They had 3.5 takedowns available on Betr Picks. I was just about to put it in. And then they took it off. So I go, at 90.5 significant strikes, I don't think anybody has gone over 90.5 on Leon Edwards. I don't think anybody has. And when I was looking at it, I was like, does Sean Brady be the guy to go over 90.5? Probably not. In all reality, if I think he's going to get the takedowns, he's probably not going to be landing a ton of significant strikes. So I do think he gets the takedowns. And, lower at 90.5 might actually be the better play, just in case there is some sort of early finish. We still get the lower on Sean Brady. I do think the fight probably goes, into the 4th, 5th, probably goes to a decision. But Sean Brady's not going to land a ton of volume on Leon Edwards. Leon only gets hit with like a little over 2 significant strikes per minute. And I think he's going to have success with the takedown. So I don't think he's going to rack up the significant strikes. So that's the 8th pick there on the 8-legger on Betr Picks, 100x multiplier. The 2-leggers here, Puja and Carlos Olberg, 3x multiplier. We talked about both of those. And then we got a 3x multiplier on Colin Loughran and Chris Duncan, both lower. I like these plays this week. I think we, knock on wood, we might be sweeping this week, boys, okay? Knock on wood. If you got wood, knock on it, but I think we might be sweeping. If you're in one of these purple states, download Betr Picks. Use code HeyJob. Get your deposit bonus up to $250. Lock in these plays with that bonus, and we can make some money. Lastly, you can join the free Telegram. I will post all of my DFS plays in there when this video is uploaded. So you go in the Telegram. You can look at it there. You don't got to watch the video and go back and forth. It might just be easier for you to look at. I'll also throw in some long shot parlays. I didn't update this picture, but we did hit a long shot last week. It wasn't super long. It was like a plus 968 parlay, which is pretty solid. Pretty solid, plus 968. It was pretty much all of my 3 round prop bets that I had on my premium channel. Just threw it all in a parlay. They all hit. So I turned $100 into $1,000. So nice little play. Join the free Telegram. There's a link down in the description below. Appreciate you for watching. Like the video for me, please. Comment down below your best bets. I'll be interested to see. Subscribe to the channel. Till next time, HeyJob Picks.